With more complex WordPress sites comes the need for more comprehensive menus, and one of the most common options is the mega menu. Now, while there are lots of plugins and tools out there to create mega menus, they aren't always that easy or flexible. Today though, I'll be looking at a solution for Elementor that makes the process much easier. We'll be using Ultimate Addons for Elementor, a plugin from the developers of the very popular Astra theme. Now, Ultimate Addons for Elementor, or UAE for short, has a lot of great options for expanding Elementor. Today though, we're going to be focusing on just the one, the navigation menu widget, and specifically the mega menu tools. So if you're looking for a way of creating eye-catching menus in a matter of minutes, this could be the perfect option for you. First of all, let's take a quick look at Ultimate Addons for Elementor and the nav widget, which is what we're going to be focusing on today in this video. So this is the Ultimate Addons for Elementor website, and if we jump over to the widgets and take a look inside there, if we take a look through, we should find that we've got the navigation menu option. Now, the navigation menu option is a really cool and simple way of creating your own customized navigation elements. Now, I'm not going to go too much detail in the basics of this because I want to focus specifically on how we can create a great looking mega menu. Now, notoriously, mega menus are not always the easiest thing in the world to create. However, Ultimate Addons for Elementor does make it super simple, and it's one that I'm actually going to be using myself in some of my more comprehensive projects, WPTuts, the actual website itself being one of those. So when you see the mega menu on there, it will be using this particular plugin. So this is the kind of thing we can create. You can see we've got this nice hover effect, nice looking mega menu, and that's currently what it's going to look like on their site. But what's it look like on our site? Well, let's just jump over to what we're going to create, and this is our example page. If I come over to the top right hand side for our navigation, you can see there's the first option. We get the latest products, and we can see exactly the latest products. Jump over to the latest blog, and you can see inside there we've got a custom latest blog section. These are very simple to create, so I'm going to show you how to do exactly that right now. But don't feel like you're limited to only creating things like this. You can use basically any widget you want as part of Elementor or Elementor Pro, and you can include those as part of your mega menu. So you can get super creative very easily. Now we've seen what we're going to create, let's take a look at creating it. Now there are a couple of steps to this, but none of them are particularly complex. First we need to do is create a custom header section for our site. Now we can assign this globally to every single page, or we can be specific about where we want to use it. We may have a setup that's specific to our online shop as part of Woocommerce, and we may not need all those same features on the blog section of our site. Like I say, you can get really creative with these options. What we're going to do is we're going to come over to Elementor, and we're going to come down to the template section, and we're going to go into the theme builder. And inside there, we're going to just choose to use the option to create a new header. So we're going to click on header, and we'll just add a new header template, and we'll just simply name this default header. So we'll create our template, and once we've done that, now we've got everything set up to start working inside Elementor itself. Now you could, if you wanted to, use one of the predefined templates. It's entirely up to you. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to use it for the basis of what we're going to create anyway. For this example though, let's just get rid of that and create something completely new for ourselves. We're going to drop in a simple two column section. We'll have the logo on the left hand side. We'll just squish this up a little bit to about 20%. Somewhere around there, that'll do. And we'll just select this section, and we'll make sure that the alignment is set to middle. So making sure that everything will align itself nice and neat and tidy. Once we've done that, we're going to come back over. We're going to drop our site logo into the first section. You can see that's already been set up as part of the template, which in this example is Astra, but you can use this plugin with any theme pretty much. You shouldn't have any kind of issue. So the next thing we need to do is drop in the navigation that we're going to use. So let's come back up to our widgets on the left hand side, and we just need to do a search on there for navigation. And you can see we've got the UAE, Ultimate Addons for Elementor navigation menu. We're just going to drag and drop that into our page, and you can see this now pulls in our menu structure. Now you can use this in a couple of different ways. You can use it with the normal default WordPress menu system, but you are slightly limited with what you can do there because you're just basically creating a typical standard kind of menu. Yes, you get some controls over the layout, the positioning, and some other things. That's not what we want to do. So we're going to come back to menu. We're going to change the type from WordPress menu, and we're going to come to custom. And now once we've done that, we now get a simple predefined structure. We can edit this, delete it, do whatever we want with it to create something more unique. This is just a template starter set. So we're going to use this as the basis of our setup. So what we've got main menu items, we've got sub-menu items. Main menu items, as you can see, are a top level. Then we've got the subsection or sub-menu, and you can see when we hover over, we get those sub-menus pop up. If we expand any of these options out, you can see we get extra options inside there. We can choose the item type. We can set that between menu and sub-menu. We can choose the text we want to use, if we want to apply a link, the drop-down width, and the drop-down position. Now, what you can also do is you can use dynamic tags. So if you wanted to set this up and use dynamic data, you could do just that by using the dynamic tags option as part of Elementor Pro. However, for this example, we're going to just do this manually. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this menu item name, and we're just going to change this as something, well, just something different. Doesn't really matter too much what it is for this example. We're just going to say latest lines. So what we've done is now we've set up a custom menu. Underneath that now we've got the sub-menu section. We're going to come back to that in a moment. So we've then got the drop-down width and the drop-down position. Inside there we've got a range of different options, and I'll show you what these mean in a little bit when we come to actually creating and setting everything up with the actual mega menu itself. But for now, let's just leave that to default. The drop-down position is pretty self-explanatory, and again, we'll see that in action once we set everything up. The sub-menu is where all the goodies kind of take place. You've got the item type, the context type, and you can see we've got options for text, saved section, or saved widget. Then we've got the text we want to use on there and the link, and again you can see we've got dynamic tags. So what we've got is we've got a basics of our menu setup. Under layout, you can see we can control the various different aspects of the positioning, how things look on there, whether we want to use any of the different options. So you can see we have horizontal, vertical, expanded, and flyout. Now, I've covered these in a different video with the free plugin from the same developers as Astra and as Ultimate Addons for Elementor, and I've covered all these, so I will put a link to that in the description, because what we're doing is fundamentally the same thing. It's just with the free version we don't have access to the mega menu option, and that's basically why I'm not covering all the basics. So if you want to check that out, link is in the description to take a look at these other options, and like I say, that's included in the free plugin. Okay, so we're pretty much happy with what we've got there. We just need to go and create the mega menu option. So let's just publish this, and we're going to add a condition. We're going to say we want this on our entire site. So we'll save and close that. We're going to come back to this in a moment once we've done something else. So we need to come out of this, exit to our dashboard, and we're going to go back into our theme builder. And now we're going to create the layout for our first mega menu, which is going to be our latest items. Now to do that, we're just going to create a section. So we can come to Save Templates, and from there we can create a new section. We're going to click on Section, and we'll say Add New Section, and we're going to call this Recent Items Template. We'll create that template, and this is where we're going to put in our first mega menu. So now this is where we can start to use pretty much any of the functions as part of Elementor itself. So we're going to come back out of this library. We don't want to work from that, and this is the area we're going to work with. So we're going to simply drag in a new section. So we're going to have a one row, one column. Don't worry about styling this right now. We'll set things up once we kind of get the ball rolling with this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come back into our widgets, and we're going to search for products. And once we find products, you can see there's the option. We're going to drag and drop that into there. And this will pull in the latest products, the on sale products, whatever query we set inside there. So columns 4 is perfectly fine, but we only want one row. We don't want to end up with a massive mega menu. And now we can just quickly apply a little bit of styling to this. So we're going to select the column. We're going to come to our advanced section. We're going to put in some padding inside there, about 30 pixels. We'll just drop in a little bit of space at the top, and we'll say about 35 pixels on there. I might need to tweak this later if it doesn't fit perfectly with my design. But you can kind of get a feel for what's going to happen here, because you can see at the top there's our header section with our navigation, and this is going to be our mega menu. So this is sort of what it's going to look like. Now, once we've done that, we're going to just select this section, and from there we're going to just come down to the style options, set a border inside there, and we're just going to put a box shadow, and we're going to up the blur on there quite a bit so it makes it look like it stands off the page, but we're going to drop the opacity right down so it's really quite subtle, so we just get a pseudo 3D look to this section. Okay, so you might need to tweak a few other things inside there to get what you want, but for now, that's going to work okay. We'll hit publish on there, and that's our first template created. Now let's head back to our header section template. So we're going to come back out to our dashboard, back to our theme builder, and from there, we're going to go into our default header and edit that with Elementor. And now we can assign that template. So all we need to do is come back up to our new navigation menu, choose the submenu for, in this example, the latest lines. Once we do that, we can change the content type. So currently it's set to text. If we just choose the options in there, and we're going to say saved section. Once we've done that, it says select the section that you want to use. I'm going to click, and we'll pick the template we've just created, which is the recent items template. We'll select that, and now if we come over our latest lines, you'll see we now get our mega menu. It looks a little bit odd at the moment because we need to set some of those parameters for the layout. To do that, we simply come over to the parent, which is in this example, latest lines. And from there, we need to set the drop-down width and the drop-down position. Now, let's just take a look at the drop-down width first of all. We have 5 options apart from default. Custom, which allows us to do exactly that. We can set a custom width on there. So we can easily adjust this to whatever we want. When we mouse over, you can see now it gives us a more in-keeping layout, even though you can't see everything because currently the drop-down position is set incorrectly. So let's rectify that first. Let's say the drop-down position is going to be set to right. Now when we come over that, you can see it looks a lot better. There is still a discrepancy. You can see we've got this space at the top, which looks a bit odd, so I need to edit the template, but let's not worry too much about that right now. Okay, so once we've done that, let's come back and take a look at the other drop-down options. Let's change that to equal to section. Now, equal to section is basically the drop-down is going to be the size, will be equal to the entire section in which the widget is present. So depending upon the size of the actual section, that's what you'll see it inside. That's where it'll be constrained by. If we come back over and change this to equal to container, this will change it to be equal to the container. Now, it looks the same on here because, well, my screen isn't particularly that big, but it will be the container in which it resides. So a container could be smaller than the section, and that's what controls the both of those. Then you've got equal to column. So you can see we currently have 2 columns inside here. The left is where we've got the logo. On the right-hand side, which takes up the majority, is where we've got the navigation menu. So now when we come over, you can see it's constrained to that section. And finally, we have equal to widget. And the equal to the widget is basically equal to the navigation widget, which again, looks like it's going to be exactly the same as the column that we've got it in. But you've got lots of options inside there to configure things. So you can see we've got our navigation menu with our mega menu all set up, and it's done incredibly easily. So let's just set this back to be equal to container. So that gives us a nice wide section and allows our products to look pretty cool inside there. So that's one way in which we can set things up. What other ways do we have though? How about taking a look at a different kind of content? To do that, we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. We'll update this when we save the changes. Then we're going to hop back into our dashboard. Now the cool thing with this is you can combine multiple different Elementor widgets together. So let's take a look at doing something like that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over and create another new section. So back into our save templates, create a new section, and from there we're just going to call this multi-section. Doesn't really matter too much, it's just to give you an idea of what we're going to do. So we're going to call this multi-section. Okay, so let's create that template, and let's just do like we did the last time. We're just going to simply create a basic layout. Close this down, and we're going to create a new section. We're going to have an 80-20 section, so we'll just quickly adjust that to around about 80-20. Not too bothered about it being perfect. Okay, so with that being done, let's just quickly set these so they are aligned correctly. Now with this one, we're going to set this to be top, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so let's come back over, and we're going to do a search for posts. And we're just going to drag in the posts widget and drop that into there. So there we've got 3 posts. What we could do is we can adjust that. You can choose any of the skins, and even if you wanted to create something truly unique, you could easily combine this with something like Elementor custom skin or any of the tools that allow you to create custom loop items. Then you could create custom templates, which would look pretty awesome. Let's just set this to be 3 and 3, and we'll just set that to be a little bit higher quality. Okay, so there's the first part, and what we're going to do is we're going to just grab a heading and drop that above there, and we'll just say this is going to be latest blog posts. Okay, let's change that to something like H4, so it's not quite so big. Next up, let's just do something like drop in a menu. Now, I'm not going to be too picky about how this is working, because like I say, I'm more interested in just showing you how it works, as opposed to showing you the intricacies of each of the different widgets we can use. So what we could do is we could just use any kind of navigation. So we could say a nav menu, so let's just drag something like that in there and take a look. There we go, that'll do perfectly fine. And we'll just duplicate this, and we'll just pop that over there, and we'll just change that to for her. And there we go. So we've created a truly unique setup. So we'll publish this. And now all we need to do is go back into our header section. So back into our theme builder, back to our default header, and edit that with Elementor one more time. And once we've done that, we can now configure this second menu item. So we're going to come to there, change this top section, and we're just going to change the name of this to blog. And we're going to set the drop down width to, again, we're going to say equal to container. Then we're going to come into our sub menu, and from there we're going to change this from text, and we're going to say saved section. Like I said, you could do global widgets if you wanted to, entirely up to you if you want to use those tools. We're going to keep it, like I say, really straightforward. So saved section, click on there, call it multi-section, we're going to pull that up, and now we come over, you can see there's our multi-section section brought in, and as you can see, we've got two completely different types of options inside here. Extra navigation menu items as well as blog items, but you can get really creative with how all this works. And then you've got all the controls then for your layout, like I say, so you can adjust this, make sure everything works the way you want it to on mobile devices and tablets and so on. Set up all your styling so we can just control how everything works on there, you know, spaces between and so on. Your drop down, you can adjust that, and you can also adjust the drop down width, vertical padding, top distance, and all those kinds of really super useful things. But hopefully what this has demonstrated is by using Ultimate Addons for Elementor, you can easily create truly unique mega menus in a very simple fashion with no real messing about whatsoever, and then you can end up with something that looks pretty cool. Like I say, we've got this all set up. It does need some finessing, but you can get a real idea of how it all works. UAE's navigation menu widget is a great option for building more complex, visually appealing mega menus for WordPress using the power and the flexibility of the Elementor page builder. Now, if you found this content useful and you're ready for more, then take a look at the video on the free Elementor header and footer plugin from the same developers. I'll pop a link in the corner right now and also in the description. Now, as always, all of the applicable links are in the description below. My name has been Paul C. This has been WPTuts, and until next time, take care.